All I'm saying is, hey, goal, I will stand still for now and let you maintain the distance you have from me. What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show. My father always told me that I needed goals in life. And I don't think I ever really knew what he meant, to be honest. I always thought I had goals. I mean, I want to be a lot of things, Dad. Isn't that a goal? Like, I have ideas of what I want to be. I want to be rich. I want to do a lot of things. I want to help the world. Isn't that a goal? It wasn't. I didn't know what it was to have a goal until I started to see my life being spent without having one. For most of my life, I became an opportunist. I always worked hard at anything I did, so I saw natural progress and more opportunities in anything I did. I continued to grow in the trajectory of those ladders that I had picked. It's funny because I was put in the telecom industry when I left high school because my sisters were in the telecom industry. And I stayed in there for 15 years. I grew into different positions, but I always joke because if my sisters were in the banking industry or whatever else, I probably would have just done that and grown in that. So I continued to grow, but it was always because the next thing was almost always presented to me. I was an opportunist. I rarely, maybe except for 2 times in my life, rarely picked the next thing consciously and knew it was in alignment to some long-term goal. I didn't think that far. I was building skills, building myself in all the things that didn't fit into what I ultimately wanted out of life. And sure, the more you know about anything, it helps you with everything. So I don't think my skills are completely lost. They're not completely wasted, and they will stack somewhere. But at what point do you decide in life to work on those specific skills, those specific qualities with real focus? Once I got clear on the goals I actually have, what the kind of life I want to live, I had less hesitation then about making strong decisions and accepting the consequences that come with them. Without understanding those goals in clarity, without them, I could have just kept going from the next thing that life presented me, instead of having chosen my life actively. You need goals in life. All stories, good stories, start with the end in mind. You need goals, small goals, big goals, goals about where you want to live, what view you want outside of your window, what weather and temperature and seasons you want to experience, goals about who you want to share your life with, goals on what kind of profession or vocation, which very few people get to experience, what kind of those you want, and what the bulk of your time should be occupied with. An idea about what your family situation should look like, how many kids, how do both of your parents fit in, goals on what kind of friends and connections you want, how much to prioritize them over other things in life. You need your own personal goals, personal health and fitness goals. You need goals around leisure. You need goals around entertainment, hobbies. You need goals in life. We are goal-seeking, goal-striving beings. We are machines designed for seeking and striving for a particular aim. We cannot navigate without aim. We are programmed to go from point A to point B. Once we arrive at point B, to be looking forward to point C. We are not designed to sit at point A or any point. We're continually striving for the next thing. We have been given a built-in guidance system to live. And to live means more than just survival. What each of us want deep down inside is more life, to live more. More happiness, success, more peace of mind, everything that makes up the essence of more life for you. You see, all of this is based off of our subconscious mind, and it's not a mind at all. It's a mechanism, a goal-striving mechanism. Our brain and nervous system is used and directed by this mechanism, the subconscious mind. This mechanism. It's always, always working to achieve your goals and what you have set within it. What you have set in it could be happiness and success, or even unhappiness and failure. It depends on the goals it's presented with. This mechanism works off of images, pictures that are created by our imagination. It detects the information we feed ourselves and acts upon it. So if garbage in, garbage out. If we feed info of unworthiness, inferiority, feeling incapable and undeserving, this data is processed by this mechanism and action is taken upon it just like any other data. The answer is given to us in the form of our experience, what life we end up living out. This system, this mechanism is always working to either go after a known goal or to discover and locate an unknown goal. We are always seeking. Even if you don't have clear goals, you will have to accept that your being is searching for one. You will have less life than is possible for you until you have discovered it. Your pursuit of goals governs the fundamental chemicals in your body. Dopamine. I saw Dr. Huberman on the Impact Theory and Tim Ferriss and learned more about dopamine than I've ever known in my life. I will probably reflect on things from the Huberman Lab podcast all the time. He is a wealth of information. He talks about the impact of our goals on our dopamine levels and how to have a sustainable reward response that keeps us pursuing. That is, to get the dopamine hit, the good feeling from the pursuing itself. And I think we are already wired this way naturally. This chemical evolved this way for a particular reason, and having this knowledge helps us accept it. We tie so much value to achievement of something, to having attained it, that we forget what keeps us alive is the reaching for it. We are goal-striving beings, striving always. Many people of high achievement talk about the huge letdown and negative after effects of having achieved their goals, especially reaching ungodly goals like the Iron Cowboy who ran 100 Ironman races in 100 days. He talks about the struggle he felt afterwards, in the aftermath. The struggle is felt in setting and finding the next worthy goal that will engulf you just as much. And when you accomplish ungodly things like that, and you should always be striving to, your body will still be asking, what's next? Because guess what? Our body and internal mechanisms demand it from us, or they don't let us live. We are designed to keep seeking, keep chasing, keep pursuing. The second you feel too old, too stressed, too busy, too anything to keep going after something is the second you also sever yourself from any good feelings. We only experience positive emotion in pursuit. We are designed this way, to keep going after something. But your goals must be of your own making. You cannot, not for long at least, go along with someone else's idea of your life. And most of us default to easy pickings for our goals. We default to living where it's close to familiar, where we grew up, and live and die in the same corner of the world. When I moved from India when I was 12 years old to New York, I always wondered why we picked the town that we moved in. And it's because there was one other aunt, one other family member, and that was the decision-making criteria. We default to easy pickings. I mean, how else do you pick? And I always ask this question, how do you pick where you want to live? What is your goal there? How do you define it? And if you're like me, maybe it is weather and view. Or maybe it is what's familiar, where you grew up. But you should know you are actively picking that as a goal to continue to live there, not something that you default to. We default to careers and income levels that we've been exposed to. We don't know any better and accept relationship dynamics and a life that is not truly attuned to us if we had a choice. But we don't, because we are not surrounded by different. And you pick up those goals casually from someone else. You can't let your partner, your family define what is an acceptable goal for you. That is a recipe for a rude awakening one day when you destroy all that you have created. You have to know and find what is a clear goal for you. And until you are strong enough in your own definition of that, it isn't terrible to let someone else decide it for you, to learn how to play the piano or take dance lessons, especially when you're a kid. Your parents aren't working against you. They might end up forcing you, but the benefit of that is you get to experience more and figure out what you like and don't like. Sometimes as an adult, I wish my parents forced me to continue to play the piano, because as an adult, I would be impressed with myself. So it's okay to go along when you're a kid with someone else's idea of a goal for you. But as an adult, we still default to the strong-willed person to guide us. So we might tag along with someone else's goals, someone else's idea of life. But the stakes are higher when you're older, though. By a certain age, you should have experienced enough to know whether your vision and goals match up with someone else or not. You cannot outsource your goals the older you get. You have to be willing to accept the trade-offs and sacrifices in pursuing the ones that you pick, that make you compatible or incompatible with somebody else. Or again, you will wake up now in your adult life, 10 years into your 30s, and realize that you haven't picked anything that you were around. Maybe you are also an opportunist. And only you can decide how you serve the world. You need to have your own vision and goals. No one else can understand your unique offering and what you are willing to offer and work for. So your goals must be of your own making. And your goals need to be for different time frames. Goals, and what differentiates them from visions, is goals have lifespans. So you need a short-term goal, something you need to work on today that contributes to the week. You need a midterm goal. This week, how it contributes to this month, how this month contributes to this quarter. You need long-term goals, how these 2 to 4 upcoming quarters contribute to your year. You need a grand term goal, your year and how it contributes to the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. These are anchoring goals that require no less clarity than the short-term goals. And then, of course, you need a vision. While a goal has a lifespan and tells you what to do, a vision tells you how you will do it. And I don't mean by the minutia, by the little details. It tells you in the spirit of which it will get done, the values that will be adhered to. That is your vision. It doesn't need to have a lifespan, but it is the guiding light to all of your goals. You need goals. You need a reason to wake up. We are designed for seeking a reason to wake up in having a goal to accomplish, something to enhance in our life. And right now, although I have goals, I'm not able to tie them to real deadlines. So it breaks the idea of a goal. I probably can tie them, and maybe it's an excuse. Maybe I can tie them to deadlines. I'm sure I can, if I accept them fully. But there is, and this is my but excuse, there is so much uncertainty in my life right now. I'm in a different country. the time difference, my father's health, that I don't know how to start something without being fully accepting of all that it comes with, because it would take me away from all those other things. Or maybe those things are taking me away from being able to do the thing that I need to do, the deadline, the goals. And maybe it's an excuse, but I don't feel fully present to be able to commit to something and have the ability to tie deadlines to those goals. And because my goals require me to get uncomfortable, require an increased level of time commitment, I'm fearful in actually committing fully. So it leaves me with days where even though I work, I don't have enough of an end that I'm working to. And without a commitment to start or to do something by a certain time, I'm not giving myself the playground to apply all the things that I work on and learn. And the longer I stay in this state, sometimes the less I believe I'll even apply them ever. It's a really harsh mental game. It's a really bad mental space to be in. This goalless, even though I have goals, but not a commitment to pursue those goals really. All I'm saying is, hey, goal, I will stand still for now and let you maintain the distance you have from me. I see you as something that's worthy to attain, but I will continue to stay here and keep this distance and not make any progress towards you. I will not come closer to meeting this goal. And this state is causing me more difficulty than probably any other thing in my entire life. Because the way that I've dealt with stress my entire life was always to continue to work through it and have something that I'm working towards that kept me grounded. But right now, not having that is literally stripping my reasoning of getting up in the morning. Many mornings I find it difficult to even get out of bed because you need a reason to wake up in the morning. And even if that's your kids, your family, and what they need from you, the part you play in the becoming of something, the betterment of something, is how you spring out of bed in the morning. A life without finding the gap between where you are and where you can be and want to be, and the desire to narrow it, the willingness and the work to narrow that gap. Anything without that is a life of comfort. And you know what they say about comfort? You need to have desire to narrow it. A desire is a call to action. It is a call to adventure. All you need in life is a good head on your shoulders and a burning desire to succeed. But if you are not applying your desire towards an end, it leaves you in a painful state while you're awake. You need desire. And I'm a champ at killing my desires. I can kill my hunger and not eat for days. I can kill my thirst regardless of how parched and not have a sip of anything for hours. I can remove desires for all worldly goods. I can accept what is and honor and cherish and try to just preserve it and hold on to it. But guess what? That has gotten me less than what I can have if I just had desire. And desires are not evil. Many of us are taught that wanting is a bad thing. There's a lot of negative opinions for those who have a lot, that pursue a lot. I mean, we've even made the word ambition some evil term of the power hungry. And people say desires are not evil. What about being content? Zen, the whole Buddha, having a life with no desires, no attachments. And I think what they were alluding to, and I'm not a Zen master, far from it, but a desire, a goal for tomorrow isn't supposed to take you away from today. Instead, it's actually supposed to ground today like nothing else can. The reason to wake up, the value in today. Desire is a double-edged sword, and I can see their take on it. As wisely acknowledged, the root of suffering is desire. But I think what that speaks to is the blindness desire carries, and how the urge and the pangs of desire can be so strong that they cause us to overlook what is in front of us. And that is the double edge, the blindness that it carries. The hardest thing is to balance gratitude with desire. This is what desire fools us into thinking is an either or scenario, though. We think that we will be so much better off once that desire is fulfilled, attained, and achieved. That view of life through a lens that we don't have yet, that it robs us of the joy of what we do have. So yes, a dance with desire does come with its devils. But the remedy for that is not to be free of all desires either, not to throw the entire baby out. A life without desire is flavorless, but your entire existence can drown in it as well. I don't know how to retain that balance without frequent present moment awareness and gratitude for all that is, and using all that is available to your fingers right now to humbly acknowledge in its entirety of all the constraints and all of its potentials, and use it in all service of what you are trying to create and become. A grounded becoming. Becoming through acknowledging and gratitude for what is in front of you, humbly acknowledging it, and using that as the platform for which you pursue. In that, you honor what is and what can be. It is not an either-or scenario. It never is. It's always an integration of both. Desire is not evil. Desire is fundamental to our society. And sure, most of us are in the need business, but many things in the world have progressed because of desires. Desire is the cornerstone of innovation. Now, necessity is the mother of invention, but once an invention has solved a basic need, desire is what makes it more efficient, faster, better, more polished, better designed, and constantly improving. It is a cornerstone of innovation. A life without desire is empty. Most people die at 25 but are buried at 75. Most people decide early on that they are not going to put in the work required to reach their ultimate dreams, and that their desires are reserved for the lucky and privileged. And although, like me, outwardly they may experience upward movement in their ladders, they themselves are aware that some part of them died early on in the acceptance of their lower than possible position of their potential. That their story had more room to be more spectacular, but they either don't know how or are not willing to be the hero to attain it, to transform who they are to become the person on the other side. If your goal in life is to retire, you are living life all wrong. Remember, our human goal is more life, betterment over survival. As soon as you think you have arrived somewhere, and try to hold on to it and preserve it, the universe continually moves against you, moves away from you. You lose the pace you had against it, and you are no longer on your way to more. And the opposite of more is less, not the same. You don't get to hold on to what you have. It degenerates and decays. So you have to be continually seeking and accept that we are designed this way. Without it, you have less life. So a few ways to set goals and get goals. The first that really helped me, because I didn't really know what a goal was to do a writing assignment called the Self-Authoring Program by Jordan Peterson. He asks you to write about the future and the past and your present even, and create a version of heaven or hell for you in the future. Write out in detail how you want your life to go, and what if it didn't go that way? It gives you, and gave me, clear perspective on what life can be and what I don't want it to be like. My own personal version of heaven and hell. And he has stats that he shares on how much more likely people are to attain things in life once they get clear on what those things are. So in the grand term of things, I would definitely use a writing assignment like the Self-Authoring Program, because it will help you design at least what you want for yourself in the future, in 3, 5, 10-year mark. And then you can start to narrow those down into what you need to do today. Use something like working backwards from your goal. Figure out what's important today from that, so it gives you a reason to get up. So you see how even the smallest action can contribute to your lifelong goals. My father also taught me this. He said he learned from his MBA class in the 70s when he graduated. He said, write down a goal. This is in a speech that they gave at the end. What you want to achieve. And then write down a step before that achievement. The state before that achievement. What you need to be and do before that. And then work that all the way down to the very next step that you can start today. Work backwards. Have a grand vision, a grand term, work that back to longer term, to midterm, and short term. And something I learned at work that I really, really liked to ground my quarters was, I think it's the EOS model. It's called quarterly rocks, where you write out projects and work that you expect to begin and complete and accomplish within this quarter. Now, this can spread out if you're doing it personally over your personal and professional life, and get as detailed as possible. No matter where you are in life, there should be something you look forward to over the next following quarter. They say if you're not embarrassed of who you were last year, you are not moving fast enough. And this is built by equal 4 parts of effort throughout the year. You can't just make up ground for it in the back half. So write out your quarterly rocks. I think maybe I'll create a template and attach it somewhere where people can use to write out their quarterly rocks. I'll leave that as a thing to do for myself so I can share with you guys. So have a vision for your quarter and figure out what you want your next year to look like. Don't wait for the new year to set a goal. Goals don't have to be tied to momentous occasions, and they're more likely to fail and fall short if you take this route. You are more likely to stick to goals if you start them at random times. Like a random gift means so much more than giving one on an occasion where somebody expects it. A random goal set and committed to will stick and will promise you and give you more gains than anything else if you start it on a random day, and you will stick with them longer. And once you set those yearly goals, at the end of those years, try to do a yearly recap to see how you tracked on your goals and see what you accomplished. Over time, you will understand where you fall short, how much you can handle if you really, really went hard at it, and then adjust accordingly in the future. Or have an honest conversation with yourself about how you didn't do all that you could and fix that in the following year. I love you, my friends. Remember, we are goal-striving beings. Don't feel bad about having desires. They will motivate you to have a great life. And that's what we all want, is a great life. More life. See you next time.